Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Frostbyte. Today, we're going to be talking about numismatics. And this is nothing new. This is what we do on this channel. However, I want to talk about something that everybody should know about, but I want to get very specific about it. And that is the minting process. Now, when you talk about the minting process, you talk about from the sheet of metal all the way through blanking, through the annealing, through the upsetting, all the way into the striking of the coin. But it's not there. See, it has to go through washing and it has to go through shipping and packaging and then distribution. There's a whole ballet that ensues when it comes to the United States Mint, or any mint for that matter, and minting coins. Now, when we look at something specific, something that I like to look at, which is varieties and errors, especially if you're looking through your pocket change, you want to find those really neat items. But in order to understand if something on a coin is possible, it's crucial that you understand the minting process. Now, part of the minting process that I'm going to be talking about today is the strike, where the press actually pushes the design into the planchet, turning it into a coin. So today we're going to talk about a piece of technology that came out a number of years ago. I reached out to the company that created the prototype for San Francisco Mint, and I want to talk about some of the issues that came up from that, which leads to the importance of things like security and validation to prevent die pairing errors. So this is the topic for today. Sit back, relax, make sure you smash that like button, and stay tuned for an interesting topic on the visual inspection system that is adapted by and for the United States Mint. All right, so I mentioned the United States Mint visual inspection system. So what is that? Well, I'll give you some layman terms, and then I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you a couple elements and talk about what's happening during this particular time frame. So as we look at the minting process, there are a couple different presses. You have vertical and horizontal presses, depending upon which way the orientation of that press is set. You have an anvil, which is the bottom, and a hammer die, which is actually the item that strikes the anvil, just like you would in a hammer and an anvil, right? You have the two pieces that come together, and they come together in a collar. And you can see this breakdown in this video. Now, as this technician takes this apart and looks at it, you can kind of see how these pieces fit together. And you can see that it would be quite easy for somebody doing this to inadvertently slip the wrong die in this particular set. However it happens, there needs to be some sort of visualization check in order to prevent that particular type of error from occurring. So how do they do that? Well, they utilize this visualization inspection system. Now, I'm going to mention a company called Newton Labs. Now, I reached out to Newton Labs and actually got to talk to somebody for a little bit of time. And we talked about the general process and the prototype. So the original prototype was created for San Francisco, and it was done on one press. And the purpose of this press, the purpose of the design, this prototype, was to be able to capture a visualization of the dies prior to each strike of the coin. No, I don't mean the start and then they run the machine and then they take another one to make sure it's there. I'm talking between every individual strike. If you look at the 63 presses that the US Mint has now, they hit coins at about the rate of 700 to 750 coins per minute. The Mint can produce between 43 and 65,000 coins per minute if all of the Mint's presses are running at the same time. Now, that's a huge endeavor. And so when given the opportunity, Newton Labs needed to create a three-pronged machine. Number one, you needed to be able to take a picture of the obverse or the front of the coin. Look at that die. You wanted to make sure that that piece matched exactly what was in the computer for that particular run. The second portion of this is to look at the anvil or the reverse, the back of the coin, and do the exact same thing. to make sure that this is looking at that particular element and can see it. And not only see it, but validate on the machine that it is in fact the right one for that particular element. The third part, which was the trickiest according to the representative at Newton Labs that I spoke to, was the catching mechanism to initiate that system to snap that image at exactly the right time. Now, 750 strikes per minute is no child's play. It's a very complicated task, and they had to create the technology in order to do this. So how did this technology work? Well, I can't explain too much about it because there are trade secrets involved. But what I can tell you is this. There's a mechanism that after each strike of the coin, when the anvil and hammer dice separate, allowing for the new coin to come in, that's the moment in which the mechanism fires to show the anvil and the hammer dice. Compare that in a split second against what's supposed to be there and validate that the next strike is okay. If for any reason the purpose of this machine was to stop the machine and ensure that it no longer produced another coin. Now, it's this action that the US Mint wanted that actually caused Newton Labs some problems. See, when you're doing work on a machine, especially if that machine is adapted or developed by somebody else, you can't always manipulate or alter the machine. There's this thing called a warranty. And because of the warranty, there are potential problems with altering its mechanism. So for instance, if you take a third-party adaptation, anybody who's ever done work on cars knows this. If you take a third-party part and you put it in, it might void the warranty for that particular element. Speakers, radios, all sorts of items, bikes, third-party parts may be cheaper, and in some cases might even be better, but they can potentially void the warranty. And this is exactly what Newton Labs ran into when they were doing this particular situation. See, they had developed the prototype for San Francisco and they had put this into place. But the company that actually owned that didn't allow them to stop the machine. And this was Garbanner. Now, Garbanner is a German manufacturing company, and they develop a very well-designed machine. I'm going to show you a little clip of one of this. It's kind of old, but you get an idea. This particular press is for proof coins, but you kind of get a general idea of what's happening and what the technology is. Germans are prized for efficient development, and they play a significant role in the minting process. And I'll tell you now, if you've ever seen things like the Germania, or you've ever seen things like the German coins, they're absolutely phenomenal. Their quality is second to none. If you look at some of the silver production, in particular, Geiger, the minting processes that they make, the coins, the bullion, are fabulous. Why? Because German engineering is second to none. But they didn't want Newton Labs stopping or altering their machine. They didn't want to put stops in because that would void the warranty. And the US Mint obviously isn't just going to be able to drop a bunch of money every time one of these machines happens to go out. So they want to make sure they have their warranties. Again, they're contractually based to maintain them, and voiding a warranty would be a big problem for the United States Mint. And so unfortunately for Newton Labs, they only got the one. But when I ran across this article that was written by CoinWorld in June of 2012, I wanted to bring the technology to you and ask you a question. 2012 was when they developed the prototype for this. It was done in San Francisco, and then the German company who created those types of presses eventually would adapt and develop, based off of the prototype, their own. They would implement it on their own machines and put the stopchecks in place. Now, if that happened, then how did the die pairing error for the Sacagawea and the state quarter program occur? Remember, this is after the fact. And the answer to that is actually quite simple. You're not replacing all of the presses at once. So the opportunity for security to lax in a specific area when it comes to changing this may have allowed for an operator to do something a little, well, unruly in the development of a coin that doesn't actually exist. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because there's massive money in it. This is a mule error. This one is the Sacagawea Washington dollar pairing. Or how about this one that happened just prior to this, which was probably one of the elements that caused the mint to want to do this? This is the penny dime mule. There's also a very controversial one, which is the 1959 wheat cent, which many believe to be a counterfeit by Mr. Mark Hoffman. This is a very famous mule. Many people still don't believe this one is authentic. But a mule error is when you have a die where the obverse and the reverse aren't designed to be together. Matter of fact, the Sacagawea and the quarter aren't even in the same denomination. So the dies had to be a little bit different. The planchets are the different size. Now they're close, but they're not exactly the same. The development of this visualization system is to make sure that that doesn't occur. But until the United States Mint implements this at West Point, San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Denver, every one of the presses and every one of the mints has been updated, the potential for a mule will still exist. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because of two things. One, security. Security at the mint over many years has gotten tighter and tighter and tighter. The creation of or development of a coin that is not approved by Congress or legislative bill is illegal. And the development of this technically is illegal. And is it actually an error if it's purposefully designed by a mint employee? The answer is no. It's a nefarious practice. It's labeled a mint error because it escaped from the mint. But they're highly prized, they're highly coveted, and they go for massive amounts of money, just like these coins right here. So what happened? Well, this company created the technology. Now that the problem with the little trigger mechanism had been identified, the solution was made. They could use it. Oh, by the way, that little trigger mechanism isn't patentable. Interesting. So Newton Labs technically got screwed. So I wanted to thank Newton Labs. I looked over this article, and first off, I want to say thank you to their leadership staff for allowing me the opportunity to discuss this with them, to talk about what's going on, find out their story, and really look at some of the information. Now, again, there's a lot of proprietary information, couldn't give me any more specifics, but I was able to work out some of the information about how it happens. Here is the mechanism as they've shown in Coin World. Now, this is on their website. This is open to anybody. Anybody can go look at this, and you can see this old Grabiner press. And then you can see the mechanism that they created. You can see the housing that runs across, and you can see the two cameras that actually do that. What they don't show, or they don't show very well, is that trigger mechanism. But that trigger mechanism was the thing that allowed this to go on. Now, when time permits and the United States Mint is able to create these across all of the platforms, across all of the presses, does that mean the potential for a mule error will end? Well, where there's a will, there's a way, and we'll have to wait and see. Ironic? Maybe not. There's definitely a need for this. The United States Mint takes this very seriously. And this is definitely something that, as sure as time goes on, we might see the end of the mule error altogether. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Frostbyte. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to put the links in the description down below. Go check out Newton Labs. Go check out some of the technology and some of the really cool things that they're doing. They're an amazing company. They're still in play, and they still do a lot of amazing things. They're trying to work with other agencies and entities all over the world to try and implement some of this visualization stuff into the various presses that they use. So hopefully that the quality of the coin that you see, when you pick up a proof coin or when you pick up something and you see the right emblems, you see the right information, maybe that coin is one of these rare ones that has passed through this unique little design known as a visual inspection system. All right, ladies and gentlemen, be well, be blessed, and I will see you in the streams. Take care.